Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, and how are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good. People may know you, Elaine, as the blogger behind Living Lightly in Ireland. It's a blog that's very popular, and it's about cutting down on waste packaging, and in particular, the serious over-packaging in supermarket grocery items. I did a bit of bag packing there for fundraising there last 2 weeks ago. It's just unreal, Elaine, isn't it?
It does seem to have gotten out of control, particularly in the last few years. It seems to take longer to actually unpack your shopping than it does to actually do the shopping now.
And we're talking obviously about waste, and in terms of plastics and items that don't have to be put in plastics, but for some reasons, maybe it's got to do with the systems that the supermarkets adopt, but I suggested that everybody should do an hour's bag packing a year just to see the amount of packaging. I was asking people, will I take off the plastic from particular items? They said, no, don't do that. You're not going to obviously empty out your cornflakes into a bag. But when you see the amount of plastics there, how does it make you feel, and why do you feel so passionate about this?
Well, we only have 12 years, or is it 11 now, before we enter into irreversible change to the climate. And really the existence of humans on this planet is threatened. So I know we talk about the insects and biodiversity and the polar bears and all of that, but we're actually part of the natural world as well. So I'm just surprised people aren't more worried about it. I'm worried, and a lot of my peers and people I talk to are worried about it. But the supermarkets and a lot of businesses, some of them are making changes and doing great work, but a lot of them are just continuing as normal, and I find that a bit frightening. And I do think that a lot of what's happened is down to the way our food systems work now, and it's been taken out of the hands of the consumers quite a bit. So a lot of supermarkets now order large quantities from suppliers who are far away from where we're buying, and so the food has to be protected en route. And it's also, because it's travelling long distances, they're often sealed in environments where they can't decay as quickly. And that's why we need packaging if we're getting our sugar snap peas from Kenya or our blueberries from Argentina. Whereas if we were buying from a farmer locally or even in the UK, we'd need an awful lot less packaging. And then also at the tills, it's much quicker for the cashiers to scan a pre-barcoded package than to weigh 4 loose tomatoes. And so a lot of it is tied up with the profit of the supermarkets. So it's not always something we can control, but we can do small bits to reduce it, and also we can tell the supermarkets we're not happy about it.
And there are attempts, there's a lot of people doing different products and different things to try and help reduce things. So, for example, there's this Amy Orr who's in a company called You Me, and they're basically trying to minimise waste shopping, up and running a past couple of weeks, and they have a small amount of stocks. They're selling cotton shopping bags, producing bags, produce bags, solid shampoo bars and refills, natural deodorant in tins, stainless steel lunch boxes, name for a few things. Even look at the milk. You look at the milk racks, I suppose, and most of the milk there is done in the hard plastic. Whereas, would it be better to buy milk in a carton rather than hard plastic?
No, it's sort of unclear as to which is better and which is worse. The Tetra Paks are a composite material, so they have plastic and paper in it, and you have to separate them before you can recycle the paper. And any plastic that's recycled, a lot of people assume it's recycled into food packaging again, but because of concerns over contamination, which is fair enough, it can only be downcycled into other items like fleece jumpers or backpacks or carpet or things like that, which is fine if we were all buying recycled plastic items, but we're not. So plastic can only be downcycled. So the thing about milk cartons, the plastic ones can be recycled quite easily. There's no colour in them, so it makes them quite a valuable product material in the recyclable market, whereas Tetra Pak is much more complicated.
Okay, well let me give an example then. Tesco have a big milk container, again a Tetra Pak container, and it says on it 75% less plastic. Mm-hmm. So straight away you think, okay, is that a good thing? Should I be buying that? But you're saying, no, not necessarily.
Well, the thing is, it's not a black and white issue, and this is why it's so hard for consumers. And I would prefer, I'm always pushing the reuse and reduce line when it comes to living sustainably, because in other countries they have milk vending machines, or they have, as we're seeing happening in London, glass bottles coming back which people can return. And that is far more sustainable. So sometimes I hear the conversation getting bogged down in detail over, is this packaging less bad than that? The only sustainable route is to avoid packaging completely wherever possible.
Okay,
and
but
that's not always possible.
No, it's not. It's not. Like if you talk about milk vending machines, that's not happening anywhere in Ireland. It's not happening. Simple as that, right? So let's live in the real world, Elaine, and let's be practical about this. So you talk about black and white issues. Black plastic compared to white plastic, is there a difference?
Well, black plastic, as far as I'm aware, and is not recyclable. All of the research I've done has told me that black plastic is not recyclable.
And that's what I've heard as well, yeah. So the black container, which may form the bottom part of a plastic packaged material, literally cannot be recycled.
No, it can't, but it's used because it makes food look well on it, particularly meat, and that's why the retailers like it.
Now, soft plastic as opposed to hard plastic. So, for example, if you buy your milk in a plastic container, and if there is a label around it, soft plastic, can soft plastic be recycled?
No, the label's not recyclable.
So what happens, can I ask you, do you know what happens if we, and we're going to get somebody on from Repack about this, do you have to take off that label then before you throw the plastic into your recycling bin?
Well, ideally you should, and you should put the soft plastic label into the black bin and not your recycling bin. But if it doesn't happen, it may happen at the recycling point. Or if it ends up, because very little plastic is actually recycled in Ireland. A lot of it is shipped abroad. And so the people who recycle, let's say, the milk bottle, they're interested in the plastic in the milk bottle. They're not interested in the label. So they will send it to landfill or incineration when they get it. So it'll eventually end up in landfill incineration.
Okay. Elaine, thanks very much for that. Elaine, you've heard there. Elaine Butler, blogger behind Living Lightly in Ireland.